Welcome to another episode of Well's Wonderful World of Business Processes and Controls, or more commonly known as www.BPR. Today we will be taking a look at the revenue cycle of State Farm. Come on! Each business is unique. However, despite the differences, there's always a core similarity in how their processes work. State Farm is no different. Today, we'll be looking at how the revenue cycle applies within the insurance industry, using State Farm as the example. State Farm is the largest insurance company for cars and homes here in the U.S. Their business model consists of independent agents who contract with State Farm, and there's where the revenue cycle takes place. Embark with me on a magical journey as we visit an agent's office and see how the revenue cycle applies there. Come on! The process begins when a customer requests an insurance quote. Usually this is done by the customer who enters the information online. The sales rep receives notification of this and then contacts the customer. Based off the information provided, such as the person's demographics, their accident history, etc., the system generates the quote. The customer may be determined ineligible based on their accident history, credit score, and other factors. If the customer is deemed eligible, they will be provided a quote and a price based off that quote. If the customer agrees with the price, they make a payment for that policy. Upon payment, several documents are produced. First, a receipt is given to the customer. And an insurance application and quote are produced and printed off in the office. They are taken to the back and submitted in the inbox. And finally, the underwriter receives notification. He can access the application online, and he verifies that all the information is correct, including their accident history, credit score, and other details. Now, the biggest threat of this part of the cycle is inaccurate information. It's absolutely critical that information is input correctly. If we don't have accurate information, we can't give an accurate quoted price, and we won't stay in business very long.
All right, so Kristen, how many accidents have you had in the last 3 years?
Ooh, let's see. Well, do cyclists count? Because I think I hit one in February 5th, and then February 7th, and February 8th. And then, I had a DUI a couple years. Yep, it was in the time frame. Oh, and another one. Forgot about that one. Hit a couple parked cars.
Let's go with a 0.
Now, State Farm has lots of controls to counter these threats. First, they have input controls. They have a variety of completeness checks and reasonability checks. For example, if a person lists themselves as married, then they'll be required to list their spouse information as well. Or, for example, if they list that they have any accidents, they'll be required to fill out all that information before they can continue. Now, another control for this is the role of the underwriter itself. Their job is to make sure that all the information is correct and there's nothing strange in the application. They have incentive to catch errors, whereas the sales rep has incentive to make the sale at whatever cost. Their job is solely to provide verifications for all this information.
Denied. 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 Denied.
There are some cracks in the system, though. There are some pieces of information that cannot be verified by the system and by the underwriter. For example, the purchase date of a vehicle cannot be officially confirmed.
All right, Karen. Next thing we need to look at is, when did you purchase your vehicle?
I think it was 2015.
1999 it is.
Being an insurance company, their shipping process is actually fairly unique. In fact, they don't even have a shipping process. However, upon underwriter approval, the system sends out a declaration page and insurance ID card to the customer as proof of the insurance contract that was made.
Mail.
The customer is billed on a monthly basis. The system will automatically mail out a bill to the customer and then update accounts receivable internally.
Mail.
The customer has the option to send a cash or check payment back in the mail, pay online, or call the insurance office directly. If the payment is mailed, it is received by a service rep who applies the payment to the customer's account.
Mail.
Although most payments are made electronically, there is still quite a bit of cash that is received here at the office. There is still the threat of having that cash stolen. Now, there are controls to prevent someone from getting away with the theft of cash. The main control is the segregation of duties. The office itself handles the payments. The underwriter handles the approval of applications and authorizing that, and updates to records are handled internally by the accounting team.
Denied.
Hey, Brandon. Hey. So I just put an application for a new boat for me. Just wanna maybe just approve that real quick.
Oh. Denied.
There's still some gaps in the controls, and there's still opportunities for employees to steal cash. For example, a sales rep could take more cash than what's listed on the application and just pocket the difference. Or, for example, there's only one service rep that actually opens the cash payments and applies them to the accounts.
Mail.
Ooh. Santa's getting a new bag this year.
Throughout the entire cycle, it is critical that customer information be protected. There's lots of opportunities for sensitive information to be disclosed in an authorized fashion. Lots of information like social security numbers and driver's license numbers are in the hands of our employees, and we want to make sure that it's accurate and it's protected. Surprisingly, the number one threat to information being lost is actually our dedicated employees. Who would have thought? State Farm has a rigorous training program for their employees to mitigate the risk of losing data. They require their employees to watch certain videos by a deadline. If they don't meet that deadline and they don't watch the videos, then they are denied access to the system. Just because State Farm requires their employees to watch videos doesn't mean they'll pay attention.
Your first stop will be a Terms and Agreements page. Before accepting, save the ECRM link as a favorite or bookmark for easy access moving forward. Read through the notification. Once you select I accept and next, you'll launch into the platform. On the home screen, you'll see your chatter feed, 3 dashboards, and the calendar as you scroll down the page. For users associated with multiple offices, your ECRM credentials will default to the login information you used when starting your workstation. For
And that's an overview of how the revenue cycle works at an office here at State Farm, and also the critiques of their controls. Now let's go ask the employees the major things that they learned from our experience. Come on!
Though State Farm may be the 4th largest company headquartered in Illinois, and they have a huge system to run everything, their controls are only as strong as how they're implemented.
Even in a large company like State Farm, there are always opportunities to improve the controls.
Hey Kate,
What's that?
what did you learn from this experience?
Denied.
Thanks for journeying with us on this wonderful episode of Wells' Wonderful World of Businesses, Processes, and Controls. That was the revenue cycle for State Farm, and join us next week as we embark on another magical journey as we look into the expenditure cycle of Krispy Kreme. See you then!
This episode of Wells' Wonderful World of Business Processes and Controls was made possible by donations from Northwest Labs and by contributions to your BPC station from viewers like you. Thank you.
The biggest threat during this... I don't know how to read it. Now State Farm has lots of controls to counter these threats. They mainly have... Another control for this is the role of the underwriter itself. The underwriter... There are controls to prevent someone getting away with the threat. State Farm is the largest insurance company in the nation for cars and autos. Dedicated employees are the #1 big threat for this threat. Dang it, let's redo that.